3 years running.
We are humbled by your support.
Hello, I'm Kelly House from a New Home Health Agency. I would like to thank the residents of our communities for voting us the #1 home health provider. I also want to thank all staff for your unwavering commitment to the team and our patients.
Discover more local winners in our Best of Indiana County magazine, which is now available.
It's the voice of Indiana County, WCCS, 101.1 FM, AM 1160, WCCSradio.com. Mark Hilliard from the Indiana County Chamber of Commerce with us here this morning. On this Monday, our conversation brought to you by Marcus & Mack, voted Best Personal Injury Law Firm in the Best of Indiana County contest. Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
You've got a couple of big events coming up, but some smaller events that are just as significant.
Yes, actually, we've had a busy summer. Normally our summers are a little bit light, but we had a summer full of networking events, and then now we're starting to get towards the end of the summer and of the fall. We have a couple of major events coming up. Eggs and Issues is, hard to believe, a week from this Thursday, so it's going to be on the 29th of the month over at the Hilton Garden Inn. And I will say that we are very near capacity there, and in fact, it might be sold out. So if you haven't gotten a ticket, please do. We are limited with the seating there, and we were very close on Friday. So by this time, it could be sold out, but please get on our website if you are interested. We will have State Senator Joe Pittman, Representative Jim Struzzi, and Representative Brian Smith, the three individuals from the state that represent our county, and we've been getting a lot of good questions already in. If you'd like to submit a question for the legislators, you can do so at questions@indianacountychamber.com. That's questions@indianacountychamber.com. Just email us. And I believe the event will be live streamed as well that day, so you'll be able to hear your question answered by the individuals. We screen them, of course. If you're asking something on the federal issue, we're probably not going to ask them that because they would not have any control over the federal issues. But it's always a great event. Those gentlemen are always very forthcoming and surprisingly candid in that setting. So I'm looking forward to hearing what they say. When I see some of the questions, I'm kind of curious on the answers myself, so I'm looking forward to how they answer it.
Yeah, their level and their willingness to open up as they do, I think probably opens a few eyes from folks as well, because you're not used to getting that sort of openness, and so you get answers. And that's why the event is so popular.
It's nice because you get answers, but you also get a look kind of behind the scenes a little bit, behind the curtain on the way that politics works, especially in an individual in Senator Pittman's role and the leadership role that he has, where he's able to provide some insight into some of the behind-the-scenes negotiations and discussions that take place. So it is interesting if you're a fan of politics, either side, to kind of get an insight into how it all works at the state level.
Yeah. So that's one big event coming up.
Yes.
But there's another.
Yeah, our Business Hall of Fame is on September the 5th, so that's Thursday, September the 5th at the Indiana Country Club. That had previously been an event that took place in June, and we moved it to September because our May and June was just packed with, since we have the Excellence in Education banquet now, we had our golf outing, our paddle and picnic, and it was just too much to try for our office to squeeze in. So the Hall of Fame committee made the decision last year to move it to September to kick off the fall. We got a little soft spot there in terms of the events, and it's a great way to kind of kick off the fall. It's probably my favorite event that we do throughout the year. I think it's enjoyable. It's a formal event, but it's kind of laid back, and it's great to hear the stories of the individuals who are being inducted or their family members. It's a great way. Every year when we do it, we see family members come together who haven't seen each other for a while, and a lot of business leaders and community leaders come together to be able to interact and celebrate some of these folks. So our deceased individuals this year are John Sutton, Heath Clark, and Ann Lazanik. And our living inductees are Brian Force and Mike Price, and the chairman's selection is Dana Henry. So we have a great group, and I'll tell you, Todd, I'm working on the videos now, the video tributes, and it's really insightful, and some of the things that I'm learning about of each of these individuals, going back, in some cases, to the 1800s when you're looking at John Sutton. But it's really interesting, and I've told other people this. You see a lot of similarities just in the way the county interacted back then to where we are right now. I think there's a lot of things that are the same. You know, some people feel, you know, that we need to go backwards to some of the way the business community interacted back then, and I think we do it in much the same manner today. So there's a lot of similarities, and it's great to see, you know, how a lot of these individuals started, and really how the county got started many years ago.
Yeah, you see the long-term impact of people who, you know, are the pioneers that we think of as founders of Indiana County, whether they were actually there at the founding or not, because their impact goes on today.
Absolutely, and it's there's a lot of nostalgia there, especially when we're looking in the, you know, within the 30s and 40s, like with Heath Clark. But even things like with Ann Lazanik, when she got started in the late 70s, early 80s, when she opened 9th Street Deli. I mean, a lot of that was nostalgic, just seeing when we're going back through newspaper archives and seeing a lot of the things that were taking place. It's great, and I hope that if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, please do so. You know, you can get on our website again, or just give us a call and do that. But I promise you, it's going to be an event that you'll be very pleased with. We've got a great menu. It's an open bar. It's a laid back atmosphere, but it's a wonderful event, and we're going to pay tribute to some great individuals, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be really interesting as well.
Talking with Mark Hilliard, Chamber of Commerce President in Indiana County, about events that are coming up. You mentioned Excellence in Education.
Mm-hmm.
Is it on track for another year?
Yeah, we've just had a meeting briefly with the superintendents last week and started talking a little bit about that, but it is on track again to enter its third year. So it's hard to believe we're in the third year of that event already. So it's exciting. It's a lot of work, so we're looking forward to it, and we always are looking at ways that we can tweak the event and make it a little bit easier on the school districts. You know, they are a tremendous help in putting this together, and you know, because we have their support, we're trying to find ways to streamline a lot of the processes that we do and to make things easier from their standpoint. But yeah, we're excited. It's about a month away from us starting to make our trips to all the school districts to talk to the juniors and seniors and talk about Indiana County Ready, and then start talking about excellence in education too. And those are always fun and eye-opening interactions with the kids. But we always come away, you know, really encouraged, and I'm looking forward to starting to do that here in about a month or so.
We have had a few years now to look at the impact of some initiatives that you've started with the Chamber of Commerce having to do with school students. And, you know, when you started looking at soft skills 4 or 5 years ago, I'm guessing it's 4 or 5 years ago,
it's about that.
and started instituting programs to strengthen that aspect of student life. I'm sure that now moving forward, those kids were able to put some of those skills to great use moving into either the job market or into their academic careers in college.
We have had, I personally have had a decent amount of feedback from individuals who, some students who have graduated and came back, and we're thankful for some of those opportunities, and even some employers. When talking with some of my counterparts and some of the businesses in Cambria County and Armstrong County, you know, they've talked about the workforce from Indiana. And we can't say whether or not we had a direct impact. It's hard to quantify some of those things, but we always felt that if we can at least plant the seeds with these kids, with these students. I hate to call them kids because a lot of them are young adults now, but if we could at least plant the seed with some of these skills that they may need just in everyday life, then we're at least doing something to help them, get on the right path. And I've heard a number of times about the quality of the Indiana County workforce, and that's something that makes me proud, regardless of whether they're just out of high school or whether they're starting the second career in their 30s or 40s. So I think Indiana County is special, and I think our workforce is special. We continue to work hard to make sure that we can grow and be even better. But I think we're off to a good start.
Well, you talk about that workforce, and certainly there's a lot of movement from behind the scenes with some initiatives that are happening. I know the commissioners last week were down in Center Township looking at that new facility, the manure to natural gas conversion facility that will be operating, we hope, very soon. You've got the Homer City Generating Station. You've got many other different things that are going on that, we're very anxious to get word on these things, but at the same time, we understand that you have to be patient because what's coming could be very, very special.
Well, I'm anxious too, and I have contact with a lot of the folks who might be in the know, and when I talk with them, they still don't know either. Especially with Homer City, I mean, it's kind of in the hands of the ownership there right now, and they're holding their cards close to the vest. I will say that most people we've spoken to are really excited about even some of the possibilities that we've heard, not just with that plant and that property, but with a lot of different properties throughout the county. That there's a real sense of optimism about some things that are on the right track here in the next year or so. We're hoping for announcements. I'm hoping for announcements too, because I want to know and I begin planning on what we can do to assist some of these businesses if they would decide to come in here to Indiana County. But yeah, I think the Air Liquide, the biodigester down in Center Township, that's exciting. And we had I think the Secretary of Agriculture was here as well with the commissioners. And I think we're getting a lot of recognition with some of these different businesses like that plant. And it's starting to draw some eyes on Indiana County. And I'm hoping that things that may take place at the Homer City Generating Station will also do that same thing. Now, eventually, the big thing we want is jobs, and we want to make sure that we have family-sustaining jobs. But most of what I've heard about that, is positive in that regard. So, fingers crossed. But I honestly probably don't know any more than you and or anybody else at this point in time. So I'm anxious to hear some of the announcements too. But I will say that I think that Indiana County is going to be on the right track here moving forward.
Well, you look at those developments, other things that are happening, and it's a hopeful track on which we find ourselves.
I felt this way at the beginning. I don't even want to say it. I felt this way a few years ago to start off the year, and things didn't quite work out that way. But I'm starting to feel that same sense of optimism just seeing some of these big projects. I think that it's going to be really promising, and some of the things that are definitely happening, the School of Osteopathic Medicine, the Behavioral Health Center over at IRMC, I think those are things that are game changers as well, for this community and for this county, and those are already in the works. That Behavioral Health Center is already, really coming up very, very quickly. So, I do have one more event. I know we're getting short on time, but I want to make sure I do promote one more event before we go. We have an after hours this Thursday at the new Northern Appalachian Folk Festival office here just down the street. So if you'd like to be a part of that, it's kind of an unofficial kickoff to that festival, but it'll be at their office this Thursday. So you can RSVP or you can just show up. We're happy to have you either way.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you. I wanted to make sure I got that one in.
He's Mark Hilliard, Indiana County Chamber of Commerce. Thanks so much.
Hey, thanks, Todd.
It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com.